I love the feeling shift because I've had that as well in the past year where I find myself pushing and I'm like, oh, I want to be there. I want to be as successful as this person, or I want to be expressed successfully in this way. And I have to constantly remind myself, like, oh, in this moment, I'm deeply happy. When I'm with my friends or when I'm eating good food, I'm like, I have to remind myself that even with the simplest of situations, I'm deeply happy. And if that
Yeah.
is the end goal, I can live that end goal in the moment. But I really loved when you talk about the adrenals and your hormones because I went through my own hormone journey myself. When you did that testing, what sort of changes did you have to
Oh,
like make in your life? Because you built your business on hustling and on hard work. So what sort of things did you do to allow yourself to make the shifts?
yeah, there was so much. It was such an eye-opening experience because I think a lot of times we tune out our intuition, we stop listening to our body. And I think a lot of times I looked at life like almost like my body and spirit were separate, like that they weren't this like integrated whole that could communicate as one. So I remember my doctor called with my cortisol results and she's like, what are you doing at 9 a.m? Your cortisol is flying up in the morning. And I was a really big CrossFitter at the time. And I
Wow.
love CrossFit, but I am competitive by nature. I used to be a gymnast. Like I was 5 days a week, never took a single day off. And she was like, your body is like screaming and then it's crashing. And every single
Mm.
day I would get home and I'd be so exhausted that I'd take a nap
Hmm.
and things like that. And she's like, I think you need to start walking. I think you need to start doing yoga. I think you need to meditate. Like, so simple shifts like that. I also found out I had a massive gluten intolerance and I was the mac and cheese girl. Like, I
Yes.
literally was
Yeah.
the mac and cheese girl. And it was devastating, but it was so funny because I literally went cold turkey almost 5 years ago on gluten because, again, my why was strong enough. I think I realized that
Yes.
for a lot of the things that I wanted in my life, my why was always tied to what it looked like, what my body looked
Yes.
like. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my gosh, this calling is so much bigger. And so I cut out gluten. I cleaned up all of my products. I started like unplugging. Like Drew and I do not sleep with cell phones in our bedroom, they're in our kitchen. So just a lot of these things that are just like good for anyone, like reducing your caffeine, reducing alcohol. I look at that now and I'm like, man, I'm so grateful that I dug into my health in that way because
Mhm.
I have a deeper understanding, but a deeper admiration for our bodies. And
Yes.
it also just absolutely transformed the way that I work. And I look at that season of waiting of those 3 years, and I can now see that it was exactly what I needed to be working in the sense of not hustling, but in creating the type of life I wanted that supported the type of mother I wanted to be.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, that happened to a dear friend of ours too,
Mhm.
where she had a really hard time getting pregnant. And in that time was able to really set herself up for a pregnancy that is like a pregnancy and then post pregnancy of her dreams. And it was just really beautiful to
Yes.
see that. And I know that's true for you too.
Yeah.
And just that like pushing and then crashing or the marathons that we put ourselves through for a particular goal. I just feel like that's so real and so rewarded
Yes.
in
Mhm.
our industries and just across industries actually.
Hmm.
Like if you're staying up until 2 in the morning, it's like good for you. Like you get
Hmm.
a badge of honor at work, you get the promotion, what have you. I think it just sounds like it's been such a gift. I'm actually curious, probably selfishly, for you as a business owner transitioning into more ease, more play, more space, more maybe time away from the business. How have you done that effectively? And
Yeah.
has it been something that's caused you anxiety? Has it been easy? What has been the experience?
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just telling Drew last night that I now have the trust in myself to pump the brakes and trust that I know where the gas pedal lies.
Mm.
And I think that for so many women, we believe that our success is a fluke or that we're going to miss our big break or that
Mm.
the world is going to see our momentum slow down and believe that we stopped or we failed or we were never successful in the first place. And I think that what's so beautiful is I trust myself to figure it out when I'm ready to now. Whereas before, I think I forced myself to figure things out fast and to keep moving and to not slow down. And so It's been amazing. I feel like I literally had to train myself how to rest. Like we train ourselves to learn new marketing strategies. We train ourselves to do better in our career. We train ourselves in every area of life, whether it's athletics or things, but we convince ourselves that we're incapable of resting. And it's almost like I needed like a couch to 5K program in learning how to rest, where it was like 5 minutes a day, then maybe
like
10
5K
minutes
to
a day.
couch.
Oh my gosh. Right?
Yeah, you want the couch
And it's like,
method.
I needed that. And I had tricked myself into believing that like I was just incapable of resting. And it's amazing now what balance looks like in boundaries, because when I hear people say things like I worked until 2 a.m., to me now it signals like something's out of whack, or like you're not working on the right things, or like you're lacking boundaries. And so it's funny because I don't glorify that anymore. And I think that my secret sauce is like where the woo meets the work. Like I believe in power of intention and manifestation, but I also believe in work. And like, how do we spiritually take care of ourselves while doing work that is meaningful and purposeful, and finding the identities both in the work, but outside of the work. And so it's been amazing because I think a lot of us hold these visions for our futures. Like for me, my vision of becoming a mom was like being a present mom and like being the type of mom who like puts her daughter to bed every night, wakes her up every morning. I am that mom. I start work later. I watch Baby Shark in the middle of the day. There's things that where it's like, but this is it. This is why we worked so hard to do this. And so I don't feel guilt at all working at a slower pace. My business really hasn't changed all that much. I just am better at asking for help. And then I think too, I'm just at a place where I'm like, I'm trusting that I can coast a little bit, or I can pause a little bit. And when and if I'm ready to go full steam ahead, the world is waiting.
Yeah, I think at the beginning too, you were definitely speaking to fears that I have as a business owner. It's like, if we stop, it'll all go away.
Yes.
We're becoming irrelevant. That sort of thing is so real, I think, in the business that we're in. But it is beautiful when you are an entrepreneur for a little bit longer than previous. Lindsey and I have been in the game for 6 years now. You realize that there are seasons. And now I can sort of look back to the seasons where I'm like, oh, wow, year 2 was an interesting season. Like year 4 brought these things.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Morning Microdose by Almost 30.
We hope you enjoyed waking up.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates and leave the rest. If you enjoyed this trip, tune into the full episode on the Almost 30 podcast. All episode information can be found in the show notes.
Make sure to subscribe, and if this becomes a part of your morning routine, be sure to share it with a friend. We have new inspiring doses Monday through Friday. Follow us on Instagram at Morning Microdose, and follow Almost 30 at Almost 30 Podcast.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the vortex.